Hi, I'm Don Mooers, and welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. The situation at the southern border with minors entering the U.S. has become much more serious recently. Alexandra Sanchez, an immigration attorney in Bethesda, is here to explain. Development of a new science center in the White Oak area of Montgomery County is possibly on the horizon for all of us. Jonathan Genn for Perconti, Inc. is here to give us the details. The county has developed a new program called MOVE that is trying to lease existing space to new tech companies that the county wants to recruit and bring here to establish a business in our community. Sally Sternbach, the Deputy Director of the Montgomery County Department of Economic Development, has the story of this new program and ways it's already working. CSAC, Community Services for Autistic Adults and Children, has found that many of its services are dependent on transportation issues, which is often one of the most expensive challenges to any agency. Ian Paregol, the Executive Director of CSAC, is here to explain. Alexandra Sanchez, welcome. I understand this is your first time on the show. It's great to have you here. This whole situation on the southern border is confusing. We've got kids who are coming over in big numbers. What's going on?
It's true, it's a big mess. So authorities have detained a very large number of unaccompanied minors at the border, increasingly so over the past few months, and they expect up to 90,000 to reach the border this year.
Now, these are Mexican kids who are coming over, or where are they coming from?
These are kids who are coming from Central American countries like Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, countries where there is a big problem of gang violence. These children are escaping violence and coming here for refuge.
That's crazy. I mean, wow. So what's happening right now? I mean, these are kids, and gangs usually are looking at kids to expand there, to recruit. Are these kids that the gangs are trying to recruit? They don't want to join the gangs?
Correct. This is a situation of if they stay in their countries, they're gonna die. So these children are coming here to escape that situation. And now what we're seeing is our whole system and our whole society being put into the question of what are we gonna do with these kids?
What I don't understand is why this problem now? Is it the uptick in violence in these countries new? Or is it simply that the escape route has been discovered? Or, I mean, what's going on? What's causing it?
This is not a new problem, the gang violence problem. This is a problem that has been evolving over the past several years. And now today, it has become a big mess for us. Now, keep in mind that this is a problem that other countries are also facing, like Mexico and Costa Rica and Panama, who are also receiving influxes of these children.
So Alexandra, this circumstance is different from what the traditional notion of immigration reform is. This is actually, so we're not blurring the lines maybe from what the conversation has been in the past about immigration reform relating to maybe people coming in from Mexico because of economic desires to come to the United States. This is more an issue of children who are being victimized of violence in countries other than Mexico. So I've been hearing a lot of the blurring of the lines of that as one topic, and these are two different ones, isn't it?
Yeah, it's correct, but it has also put into question our systems and how we need to deal better with this issue. And one of those systems is how many immigration judges do we have to deal with these cases, and what are we going to do with these kids? Are we going to deport them? Because this is a lot of what the conversation has been moving around. Deportation.
Aren't these kids also? They're coming through Mexico, though, essentially, right? So Mexico's essentially kind of complicit in this process, or are there some kids kind of dropping off as Mexico is at least a safer harbor?
Well, this is not an issue of whether Mexico is complicit. It's also a big problem for them. But the real question is, how are we going to protect these children? Under current law, unaccompanied minors that come from non-contiguous countries, meaning not Mexico, should be protected, should be turned over to Health and Human Services for them to try to find the families if they have family living here in the United States, or to foster families. Remember, these are children who have faced a lot of abuse, traveling thousands of miles, and that here are, unprotected. So
How are they traveling the 1,000 miles? How do they get? Because Central America, that's a long distance between Central America and the United States border.
well, it's usually the usual means. The parents send them out with people whose work is
To
is
get
that.
them up there.
Correct, and so that is also a big problem, because kids are abused throughout that whole process of trying to get here.
So what is the local responsibility versus the federal responsibility? What decisions does Montgomery County have to make in this, and what rests with the immigration and customs?
Well,
et cetera?
it's a good follow-up. In Montgomery County, we have a lot of families here. El Salvador is our largest immigrant community. We have 1/10 or 1/20th of our population, 5% of our population's just from El Salvador, of all people. So can we expect people to be coming here under this rule? I mean, you're saying that these kids should be placed with families. We have a lot
Correct.
of Hondurans, Guatemalans as well. Is that, should we
Correct,
expect
and
people
that
coming?
should be a priority in terms of where are these children going to be better off, and that is first and foremost if they have family members with their families. And here, us having a great population of Salvadorians, we can expect to see many children coming into our communities.
I guess that would mean schools, because they're
Exactly.
allowed to go to school and all that. So we should expect more classes with some of these kids. Boy, what a lot of care they're going to require. I mean, escaping all that violence, that's
Well,
Those are
plus language training, plus.
Right. Yeah.
But is there a local, do we
This is
need
why
any
have
local
10
laws?
seconds, real quick.
Anything that locally we have to do in order to accept, prepare?
Well, I guess it's an issue of how we as a community want to respond to this problem. This has put into question what our society is about. Are we going to welcome these kids who are coming here through no fault of their own? They're just pursuing safety. So I guess that's a question for all of us.
It's a question we'll be talking about more and more. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to have you on here.
Thank you.
Another first-timer, Jonathan. Genn, nice to meet you.
Yes, I'm a first-timer. I'm a rookie.
You're a rookie. This is the rookie side, the advanced side over here.
Veterans are over
So
there.
tell us about this. This is White Oak, which has been a place where a lot of activity, FDA coming in, and now news of the Science Center. Tell us about what's going on.
Yes, thank you, Don. The Godolsky family is in partnership with Montgomery County to develop a 300-acre bioscience community adjoining where the FDA headquarters is being consolidated. Montgomery County is extremely blessed that it has the only FDA headquarters in the entire world right here in our own community in White Oak. As you may know, the area was in moratorium for effectively about the last 30 years in terms of development and investment. And with the introduction of now this great magnet, the FDA headquarters, and its international reach, it's now created an opportunity for the eastern part of Montgomery County to get in the game.
So essentially, I mean, FDA was in Rockville, and some of their different satellites were Bethesda and up and down the 270 corridor. So FDA has now moved over to White Oak, and now we're moving support communities and offshoots. What's the vision?
The vision is, actually the FDA was scattered in 43 different locations all around the area, and its efficiency and effectiveness to fulfill its mission of public health was really compromised because of it. Now it's being consolidated. It's all in one location. The plan is getting up to 8 or 9,000 scientists and everything in one place. It gives us the opportunity now to leverage that and create a big influential bioscience cluster.
I was going to say where FDA was before, predominantly in the Rockville area, it was never planned the way this development is planned. So you got companies coming in who had business with the FDA, who had to get their products and through for FDA approval. But what this allows us to do is to back up, if you will, the FDA mission and start to work with them much earlier than we have in the past. Pull in other partners, academic partners, other corporate partners. It's a dream come true.
So you're pretty excited about all this? I mean, when will we start seeing with Perconti some of this bear fruit?
Well, we are going through a master plan process now, and actually coming at the end of this month, the County Council will be voting on a master plan that really enables us to create a vision that includes all of what the elements are of a vibrant community.
Which are?
Well, in addition to maybe the academic interests that we have in the pharma and bioscience, but it's also the amenities that go along with it, the shops, the restaurants, the retail, the hotel and conference center. FDA has over 1,000 meetings a year that have international significance and the need for such a conference center, and the residences, the residential community, so you can have a live, work, play, pray, invest, all those kinds of things all in one kind of community is the vision as part of the amenities that serve not just the surrounding community, but actually help serve the FDA. We have a memorandum of understanding with the FDA because it is getting involved in a whole new initiative to be innovators of bioscience.
So this launches the whole eastern sector of the county as a tech community, and then you have the Washington Adventist Hospital coming up there. So it's about to take off, and we're very excited about
Now, Bethesda, Rockville, losers in this as we're moving over?
That's an excellent question. It's not a zero-sum game at all. In fact, what we end up doing, just as Silicon Valley is not one little isolated place, but it's a compilation, or even the 128 corridor in Boston is not one place, and they don't take away from each other. Instead, we create a critical mass, and we can actually brand Montgomery County as a seat for all of these great assets that it has, the Shady Grove area, the NIH area, Bethesda, and really go nationally and internationally as the reasons why we can bring these elements together. Indeed, we just went with the county executive last fall to China with Johns Hopkins University. We were talking about promoting Montgomery County as a place to come.
So what do you have as a true launch date? What do you think, it's 2020? Like when do you think it'll all start coming together?
15 seconds.
We plan, with a master plan being adopted this year, to then work with the Montgomery County to develop our general development agreement the following year and put shovel in the ground by 2016.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to hearing more reports on this.
Thank you.
2 rookies the first half. You did great.
We did.
We'll be right back after these messages. One of my favorite people, Sally Sternbach.
Oh, I'll be
Welcome
back tomorrow.
Come on back. Steve Silverman, if you're watching this, please, she's really good. So your boss, Steve Silverman, and your deputy director,
Correct.
Economic Development. One of the big challenges after this recession has now, the dust
Exactly.
has settled,
Right.
is we've got this great real estate, we've got this great buildings. We need to get people back in them, don't we?
We have some vacancy. In fact, it's a growing vacancy, much less than Fairfax. Let me say that at the start. We have 5 million, they have 12. But we nevertheless have vacancies, and we want them filled. And so we've been working heavily with our local companies to help them grow. But we think it's also time now, post-recession, to do some attraction work. So this is a program that is specifically for companies that have not been in Montgomery County before, so their first lease, and technology companies. And we subsidize their rent, basically, or a portion of their rent at $4 a square foot for the first year, up to 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And we're very excited about it. It's called Move, and it is not the Philadelphia.
No, I know. But let me ask you this: as a tenant, have a business, a law firm, and we're looking around right now for space. Isn't it? Why not allow the market to come down to make it more attractive. I find it's obnoxiously high rates when I hear about these vacancies, but the landlords still want to charge an arm and a leg. Why do we need an insertion like this?
No, it's only so that one assumes, for example, that your rent rate here in Montgomery County would be more or less equivalent to DC or Fairfax. So the $4 a square foot is meant to differentiate us from other jurisdictions as opposed to affect the market here. It's not enough to affect the market.
What is the allocation that the county's projecting that would cost? I mean,
We have a maximum that we've put in, and then frankly, if we bump up against that, we'll go back to the council and see if we have more.
Sally,
But
I'm sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, that's fine. But the idea is to go after the really competitive sectors, the technology sectors. So the life sciences, the IT, the cybersecurity, et cetera, where they're high-paying jobs, fast-growing generally, and they help our tax base overall.
Right.
Well, you partially answered my question, but I wanted to understand if it helps absorb the vacancies to go beyond just the tech industries, if there are other startup companies, and if we're trying to create
Well,
jobs, or could there be some other adaptive program?
Potentially, and we'll
Okay.
continue to look at that. What we did was go after those segments that are our strategic segments right now. So the department has identified 5 sectors that we consider strategic for the reasons I mentioned.
Right.
They leverage our current assets, they pay well, they match the demographics of the county, and they're fast growing.
Are you
And those are generally referred to as technology sector.
Are you also asking the landlords to contribute to
No.
in any way?
No,
Okay.
no, it has nothing to do with the
So
landlords.
you had some successes.
We have.
So tell me those successes.
Oh, well, lovely. They're all more or less from the
Before you
region.
get down too far, I'm reminded there's a website that you have come with.
Oh, there is.
So what is that website?
It's the ChooseMontgomeryMD.com website, has the description of the MOVE program,
Okay.
so do that /MOVE, and we'll take you to the very few regulations.
Okay, let's get to those successes because I know others have got questions.
So we have one IT, 2 IT, 1 cyber, and 1 life sciences company so far that have come in. There's only 4, but it's only been out there for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
So
Now,
we feel very good about it.
is this all space, or is it office space? Is there retail space?
No,
Okay,
no.
so
It's
it's office.
again, it's technology companies, so they wouldn't tend to go into retail space.
I understand.
But it's Class A or B office space, or laboratories like wet labs, and it's for 2 to 10,000 square feet, and at least a 3-year lease. Those are the constraints, and first-time lease in Montgomery County. So we're not supporting musical chairs.
So long term, what are the challenges that the vacancies, that
Well,
and
a
that this
vacant
would
building
address?
has a lower tax burden than a full building. So it's in our interests in helping the tax base to get buildings filled. It also creates jobs for local people, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I get up in the morning thinking about 2 things. How do I grow jobs? How do I grow the tax base? This program helps me do both.
You're confident victory?
Oh, absolutely. We've had it already.
Okay. What other thing, we've got about 15 seconds. What other things can we be looking at from the economic development?
There's so much going on. We really are coming out of the recession, so there are a couple of big things in the works. But one thing your people should hear about going forward is our mission to India.
Okay.
So Jonathan talked about China. India is this year.
Mission to India. See it at your local cinema. Thank you.
It's a global
Thank
village.
you. It is. Thank you.
Global Village. Hi, and welcome back.
Happy to be here.
So something that we don't really, I've never thought about with the fight to cure autism and to help adults and children with autism has been the challenges of transportation. But it really is a huge challenge, isn't it?
It is. For programs like CSAC, which are very community-based, part of our mission is to ensure that children and particularly adults have opportunities in the community. And in order to have opportunities in the community, you need to be able to access the community. State funding, whether it's for students or for adults, is very limited for transportation. CSAC, for example, has a fleet of 55 vehicles used for transportation. Everyone has, their own individual jobs that they're supported at, and they need to be able to get to work. And sometimes the bus routes, the metros, which are a useful tool for us as well, might not necessarily fit the bill for someone with autism.
Wow. So, go ahead.
Is that because there are limitations in the reach of the transportation
It's not-
systems, or in people with autism not being comfortable using the transportation?
I think it's a combination of both. The limitation is that there's certain schedules, and people have jobs at certain times, and it might be a few different bus routes that they have to take in order to get there. Now,
Yeah.
we'd support that to be able to happen, but there's typically, for a lot of the adults that we support, very finite amount of time, maybe 4 hours that they work. So there's a very small window to try and get in and get out. So that's half of the answer. And the other side is a lot of individuals with autism, are presented in a bus, and other individuals may be uncomfortable. Citizens might get worried, might have some kind of apprehension, what's going on here. But what we're trying to do is train staff and train the individual to make sure that he or she can effectively navigate that system.
Now,
Interesting.
there's a website. You have a website as well.
Yes, it's csac.org, csaac.org. Welcome to visit, and this information is there too.
So how prevalent is this issue?
Well, many times when representatives from CSAC go to speak and talk about what we do in Montgomery County, one of the questions asked, well, what do you need to start up a program like CSAC? And one of the things you absolutely need are jobs and transportation. This couldn't be, CSAC couldn't be developed right in the middle of Kansas where there's no opportunities. Transportation's critical for us because it's a very individualized program. So we can't have 3 and 5 people going to the same location like a drop-off, because that's just going to make everyone else late for their job. So we have a very complex, we have a transportation director at CSAC just to
Okay.
make this happen. Same thing with medical appointments. Everyone has medical appointments. And so we're trying to coordinate all of that so everyone can get to their doctors as they need to as
Wow.
well.
So with this operation, how many people are gonna benefit overall?
Well, we serve about 300 individuals every day. That's really kind of the magic number. And our vehicles are used, all day long for day services, and then all night long for evening, because there's recreational
Do you
activities.
have more
in the evening.
demand than you have capacity to fulfill, or is that
We're
more
always
or less
growing
the
that.
size of the problem?
Well, we just keep growing as an organization, and we just keep adding more vehicles. Some get run down, and it's time to.
So
bring
that
some new
isn't
ones
the
in.
size of the demand. That's what
Oh
you
no,
can.
for
that's
for
what
us,
you
we
can-
could
okay.
probably we could probably use another 5 at any given time, just to make it a little bit more individualized.
So if you
Jonathan's
Sorry.
got some cars he wants to donate.
I'm just curious, presumably there are organizations like yours in other jurisdictions
Yes.
around the country. I mean, have you sort of found out what best practices there are
I think what we're
used
doing
elsewhere?
is really best practices.
You're the model?
We
That-
really are. CSAC
Yeah.
really is a model organization, and we do speak about this. What are the 5 components that an organization needs to be successful? And transportation is clearly one. Jobs is another, and expertise, and a
so do you
quality
also
salary.
do the job placement?
We absolutely do. We have a supported employment program, a very robust one.
So an employer who is willing to work with you should reach out to you?
Absolutely. We have job developers, and we try and probe and do whatever we can to try and secure jobs.
They can learn all about how to reach you.
I was going to say, we'll talk
I'm
offline.
happy to. Happy to.
Looking ahead the next year, where's CSAC going?
Well, we're in this vein of transportation, we are expanding our fleet, another 5 each year. We try and bring another 5 vehicles on. But as an organization, we're starting a siblings program for siblings of children with autism, so they can kind of feel a little bit more connected and get some of their needs met. So that's a new grant that we're working on.
Fantastic. What are you most excited about in the future, and with CSAC and with the autism?
Well, I think
issues?
that it's, one of the things that we try and key on is that autism, it has 2 sides of it. It has the awareness, and it has the biochemical and the causation, and then there's the support side. CSAC is really all about the support side. We do it with lifespan supports from early intervention up through retirement, and we're just going to keep serving.
Okay, we'll keep serving.
Yeah.
Ryan, and I hope you'll also come back and share your
Happy
thoughts and
to.
ideas with us, and Sally, and with
Thank
the
you.
rookies as well. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I want to thank all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Mooers. Please join us next week at this very same time.